on the Mate 80 Pro Max. 8000 nits peak, but nevertheless it is very bright and it's beating the Xiaomi. Can do 4K 60 frames per second and I can switch to the back-facing cameras. 4K 60 frames per second here on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and the Huawei Mate 80 Pro Max. These are the top camera beasts from 2026, number 1 and number 2 in terms of sales in China. And without further ado, let's dive in the side-by-side 4K 60 video. 4K 60 frames per second here on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and the Huawei Mate 80 Pro Max. One thing that I can tell you for sure, the screen 8000 nits is a lot brighter on the Mate 80 Pro Max. 8000 nits peak, but nevertheless it is very bright and it's beating the Xiaomi for sure. We have the front-facing camera here, 4K 60 frames per second on both, and what we can do is go to the ultra-wide angle on the Huawei, where we cannot do it on the Xiaomi, sadly. We can go 1x, we can go 2x even, if you have some makeup, earrings or earbuds that you want to present. And we have autofocus on both, so the Xiaomi can do autofocus, but also the Huawei has autofocus here. So very nice, those both have the ability to do autofocus. The Xiaomi even has the advantage that it can do 4K 60 frames per second and I can switch to the back-facing cameras. So here we have the back-facing cameras and you can see this is the user interface of the Huawei. I don't have the ability to do so. So what I have to do is stop, switch, start recording, and then I can have them side by side again and you will see how they will look like. And we have the advantage on the Xiaomi of a 1H type sensor, where we have just a bit of a smaller sensor there on the Huawei. We can go to ultra-wide angle, which is 12 millimeters. This is what the Huawei is showing me, but it's telling me that it has a 30mm lens. Actually, it's using 30mm for photos, but apparently in 16:9 it can record a bit wider than what the Xiaomi can do here. And if you're interested in a camera comparison with photos and a lot of other stuff, I did that, a very detailed one as well, very long, but this is just the videography, 4K 60 frames per second, and yeah, this is how it will look like. And yeah, let's try out a bit of zoom. So let's go to 3.2x, 4x here, first zoom lens. We can go even further. This is roughly like 92 and 90 millimeters now on both. So 90 on the Xiaomi and 92 on the Huawei. And we can go even further there, a little bit, 100. We can go also 10x and 8.6x. Actually, maybe let's follow this guy here. And I can go up to 10x as well. So which one is clearer here? We can go up to 15x. And we do 15x here as well. I think the Xiaomi has a larger sensor and is a bit better there in terms of clearance. We can go to 30x maximum on both. So which one is performing better here in this regard? And it's more stable, at least on screen on the Xiaomi. And let's go back to 1x here. So which one is performing better? Which one would you prefer for 4K 60 frames per second? It's also selfie style, actually. Vlogging with the main camera sensor, because it is so large, makes a lot of sense. We have a variable aperture on the Huawei, which is a big advantage because it can open up to f1.4 if you need it, especially in lower light situations. But I think it is now at f2, and you should note it have a bit of a better version of Xiaomi. It's very windy, as you might see with my very short hair, but it's still very windy here. Which one has better noise reduction? Because I don't have an external microphone plugged in, but noise reduction is built in via AI on both phones. Which one is performing better here? And of course, 4K 60 frames per second here. I have the ability to switch to the ultra-wide angle as well for vlogging style. If you want to vlog with the ultra-wide angle, first the Xiaomi, and then we do it on the Huawei as well. The Huawei, because it's 12mm, so wide, I have to put my hand out of the way. So for vlogging style, if you want to show you surroundings like architectural vlogging, travel vlogs and such things, this is possible with this one as well. How good is the stabilization on both here? I think both handle this pretty well here. Which one is better in terms of colors? Which one you like better in terms of colors? And what do you think about HDR? There's a bit of sun going on there, especially on the ultra wide angle, might be interesting. So which one is working there better in this regards? So yeah, write it down in the comment section. This is everything for this video. Like I said, if you're interested in a detailed comparison with my analysis and opinion about both of them, then just watch the camera comparison between those two here, where I also compare them at 4K 30 frames per second.